Listen. If we get this all in the next 6 minutes,
right now in Mississauga,
beautiful.
6 degrees, cloudy skies, 8 in Brampton, and 5 degrees, cloudy skies.
And I'm recording anyway, just in case you people think your hacker is going to bombard my network. You're not. So there was no explosion at Yorkdale, and that anticlimax. Yeah, keep it up. Keep bombarding the net. Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up.
Full-blown ice east. That's causing big problems for Via Rail and some customers sitting on the tracks for more than 6 hours.
Transit safety dominating the discussion on the campaign trail 3 days into the nomination process for the mayoral by-election.
There has been another arrest in connection with the Alnaz Hashtamiri kidnapping case. The Richmond Hill woman has not been seen since January of 2022 when she was abducted from a home in Wasaka Beach.
Indigenous leaders in the country say this is a step in the right direction as the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal
You want to keep it up?
to sit down and review
You want to keep it up, stupid? You're not hackers.
Indigenous families.
The Raptors struggling against the Celtics in Beantown, and Manoa tossing a gem through 5 innings in KC.
Just check this pharmacy robbery carjacking crew. Just listen to some of this shit. Because if I tell you it doesn't sound as serious as like, this city's too gangster. They suppress all this.
City News from 901.
Now traffic and weather together on the ones. Here is Colette Desjardins.
Thanks, Mitch. And this report is brought to you by AGM Renovations. Northbound on Keel, through to the eastbound 401, we've got flooding. So be careful.
Every holding cell in 11 Division got PK scratched in it. Think about that. How you scratch anything into the cell wall
South of Pearson, the transfers
in a different division? Every single holding cell.
With the crash, emergency crews are on the scene.
There's no way to deal with it. Piggers. That's what I'm going to call you. Piggers. That's what I was calling.
And yes, we've got another crew of emergency vehicles there. And also be careful on the westbound 401 because the ramp to the northbound 410, the right lane is closed. I can see the pylon set up. The right lane is closed, all due to flooding. Now, if you're traveling southbound on the 400,
they said there's flooding at College and Dovercourt. There's not. I cleared the storm. There's not.
Get AGM
whatever.
to replace it.
There
AGM
shouldn't
can
be.
replace your roof from only $85 a month with 1-day service. And don't pay for a full year. Book now at agmrenovations.com. Your next report is coming up at 9:11.
You keep it up like I won't get the recording somehow?
And here is Natasha Ramsahai.
Still some scattered showers and thunderstorms through this evening and not tapering off until after midnight. But once we get rid of this precipitation, we're going to be dry for at least 7 days. We're still going to be mainly cloudy tomorrow morning. Some more sunny breaks through the afternoon with a high of 12 degrees and a west wind up to 50 kilometers per hour. Tonight, temperatures rising to 15 degrees by midnight and falling to 6 by morning.
Right now in downtown Toronto, 4
Doesn't
degrees.
sound bad, but that's a big jump. That is 10 degrees in a 24-hour period. It's a bigger jump than you realize.
Well, happening now on the Via Rail tracks. Trains are stalled between Toronto and Montreal tonight because of power outages and debris blocking tracks brought on by this wild weather. This man left Ottawa on a train around 2:30 this afternoon.
And this is where US MPs come in. We're supposed to clear those rails, aren't we?
2:32, 6 hours. 6 hours. Yeah.
Tony Brooks tells us he and the other passengers have just been transferred to a replacement train and should get into Toronto around midnight. So that's 10 hours ordeal for those passengers.
How much food they got on that train?
This is all because of today's stormy weather. It's actually a full-blown ice storm in Ottawa and Montreal. Routes 48, 54, 59, 68, 69, 668, and 669.
Is it a lottery number? Holy, full numbered your fucking roads, man.
Offering full refunds to passengers impacted, plus a 50% travel credit.
After a day of rain, wind, and thunder, our chief meteorologist Natasha Ramsahai says we can't expect
just tell us about
skies from here on out.
Our potent Colorado low that gave us wave after wave of showers, heavy downpours, and thunderstorms is slowly pushing off to the east tonight, but we're still into the warm sector up until midnight. So temperatures will be climbing through this.
By the way, salute whoever's cleaning all the storm drains down around West Lodge. I've seen that. Somebody shoveled them right out. There's so much on. They shoveled it up onto the side. They just shoveled it and threw it on the sidewalk. I like that style. I like that style.
Drivers reported severe flooding across Toronto. The city says if your street is flooded, you can report it by calling 311. It doesn't look like we'll see any more rain for the next 7 days.
Can you just put it on a map?
All clear has been given at Yorkdale Mall after the bomb squad was deployed to the parking lot. Toronto police said something might have exploded.
I've done one of these
the
since
car,
I got
but it
this.
was later found to just be a mechanical issue. The mall was not evacuated.
City News Time 9:05. It's only days.
How bad is your car?
By-election campaign.
How bad is your car? The backfire gets people called into bomb squad. It was a bomb went off. We got to evacuate the mall. Somebody's car made that noise, but didn't leave any trace of an explosion per se. Just tell us about the pharmacy jackings and all the rest of that. You gotta hear this shit.
I wanted Toronto.
I wish I could play you what I hear on the police radios when I'm in the cruiser.
Matlow says the money would be used to address the root causes of violence, like mental health supports.
Hey,
but to
what?
do so, the Toronto police budget would not be increased for the next 3 years.
Good.
In his terms, stabilized. We've got
Good, because they ain't the ones gonna do no mental health shit. They will not give me my fucking medication or proper food in their custody.
Rather than just pretending that money's going to fall from the sky, the Toronto St. Paul's councillor claims the $115 million
It's better than I
is based
realized.
on reallocating a projected 3.3% inflation increase
The
during
camera's
that time.
not.
Liberal MPP Mitzi Hunter released a plan of her own today focused on TTC safety. She wants sliding glass doors to be installed on all subway platforms.
So you have something to cut you all to hell with when somebody throws you through it, right? Why glass? Why glass? Why can't you just put railings or something? It's gotta be glass.
7-year-old Richmond Hill woman was abducted from a residence in Wasaga Beach by 3 suspects dressed in police gear, but not actual uniforms.
35-year-old Dominic Ewan of Etobicoke
Well, obviously
is the
it wasn't
latest person to face charges in the kidnapping of Alnaz
But
Hashtamiri.
it looked like
OPP
uniforms,
Detective
obviously.
Inspector Martin Graham says she's charged with kidnapping, fraud, and possession of property obtained by crime.
They still don't know where this person is.
This would be the third arrest related to the kidnapping of Alnaz in Wasaga Beach on January the 12th, 2022. There also remains a fourth individual who is currently wanted for kidnapping, and that is Deshaun Davis, who is a 35-year-old male from Toronto.
Hashtamiri's former boyfriend, Mohammed Lilo, and Brampton woman Crystal P. Lawrence have also been charged with kidnapping.
Tell us about the fucking pharmacies.
City News Time 9:07.
I can get out of here.
A multi-billion-dollar settlement
No.
for children and families harmed by Ottawa's underfunding of on-reserve services is heading back to the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal for approval.
Funding. Hold on. We pay for this out of pocket. It's our money that we're not being allowed to access. Indian Capital Trust accounts. Look at the fuck up in the DINAC manual. I think it's chapter 8.
Having to face decades of harm at the hands of the underfunded Indigenous child welfare system. Groups have been fighting for this settlement.
Which is as privately owned as all the other child welfare systems. Children's Aid Societe, a corporation.
Human Rights Tribunal shows that 16 years of fighting was worth it.
It's a signal to these kids that wrong has been done to them. I'm glad that we settled this in an amicable way.
She says the money will not replace years or loved ones lost, but it is a step in
It won't stop me from being gangster number one out here. You fucked up large when you picked on us. I knew I was going to be the one to make it. I knew only one of us had to make it. It didn't have to be me. One of us has to make it.
It will then be taken to the Federal Court of Canada for approval. From
I don't know if I'll be around as long as this watch. You got a 10-year service interval.
Some strong words to address the unrest taking place in Israel, saying Canada is deeply concerned with the direction of the Israeli government.
Tell us about the fucking arrest of the fucking carjackers and shit. Damn.
As Muslims mark the holy month of Ramadan.
Israeli and Palestinian deserve to be able to celebrate and reflect in peace.
You're a bunch of fucking anti-Semites yourselves. Like, you make a big show of giving money or whatever, military support, whatever the fuck it is you do, but you're a fucking bunch of anti-Semites yourselves. So this is all fucking joke bullshit.
About the judicial reforms that have
Judicial. There's an R in there, and you don't normally pronounce it that way. I think you're tripping on your fucking bullshit.
And he's condemning missile attacks from Palestinian militants in Gaza. So Trudeau's calling
A missile being anything you can pick up and throw. Look, an American penny. Now it's an American missile. Oh, it was made by the American government.
Netanyahu's proposed judicial reforms, which critics claim is a way for the government to try
Yeah, this one will be a British missile.
power.
This will be a Canadian missile.
City News acknowledges the land.
You see the ambiguity of the language?
The ancestral territories of the Anishinaabe, the Wendat, and currently the Haudenosaunee people.
And since
The Wendat, isn't it?
the treaty lands of the Mississaugas of the Credit.
This is City News 680.
We acknowledge that we're fucking you over to this day. That's helpful.
Canada.
1, 2, 3.
Hey, how come Rogers doesn't send out those vans anymore to patrol around on Halloween? Is it because when you stopped doing that, the number of fucking child molestations and kidnappings went down? Is that why? Is that why? Was Ted Rogers just collecting, and then when he realized there were security cameras and GPS coming on these cell phones and shit, he was like, that's it, no more, because they're going to catch us? Is that what happened? This company logo is a swastika. It is not coaxial cable. It is a swastika rotating, which has a number of different meanings in and of itself. But they are hiding a swastika in their logo.
We'll have traffic and weather together next. City News Time 9/11.
Buddhists don't hide it, do they? No. People that have a legitimate attachment to it don't hide it, do they? No. Even people that collect Nazi memorabilia, they don't hide it. This is what the fuck happened, and we need to remember that. You're hiding it in your logo today. That's an issue in my mind. I don't like you people. I don't like you. And in fact, that's what you're saying when you do that. Is exactly what I just said about you. Well, I was hoping they were going to talk about these carjackings. They robbing pharmacies. They jacking cars. They said they were doing opportunistic carjackings too. When they seen cars they wanted. All sorts of things. They were being brazen. They were making contact on purpose. That means, so if you make a point of not touching anybody during a robbery, or if you commit a theft where there is no other person there, so that might not be considered, it's a robbery. They robbed us, but it's theft with violence, is robbery, whatever. So when they say you're touching people on purpose, they're saying you're being incredibly aggressive and you're not afraid to hurt people. You're not afraid to intimidate people.
Traffic and weather together. Here's Colette.
Thanks. And right now, if you're traveling northbound on Keel,
This is going to be bullshit. I don't know if I want to continue running this.
401, the ramp is flooded. We're looking at the westbound 401. A few problems. South of Pearson.
This will record for 19 hours.
From Express to collectors.
They're not going to run the stories now.
They
jammed up my machine about 30 times in a row while they were running the stories I want to bring you. Now that I've got it running, I make some harassing phone calls back to them.
And also you want to be
careful. Yes, I do.
Actually, you don't need to be careful, but we do have a delay. It's the westbound 401 ramp to the northbound 410. The right
don't need to be careful.
We've got pylons set
You backpedaled a bit too far.
Use the left lane because the right lane is flooded. MTO, of course, is aware of that. We've got construction on northbound 404. It's right at Aurora Road. The right lane.
You can do so much with this interface. I don't know why you don't. You could put a little clock in the corner or something, a little scroll or something on the bottom with some text. You can do all sorts of this interface and you don't. It pisses me off.
Let's get the forecast. And here is Natasha Ramsay.
If you had dinner plans, you're still going to need the umbrella as showers and scattered thunderstorms continue through this evening on and off. We are going to be dry through tomorrow.
We might get a clip of a little bit of news
and getting more sun
before
through
the
the
sports
afternoon with a high of 12 degrees. By Friday,
If they're
we're
even
into
doing it. I
a
don't know if
sunny
they're still
stretch
doing
right through
sports.
the
It's
long
9 o'clock.
weekend. Mainly sunny skies Friday with that high of 7 degrees. Tonight, temperatures rising to 15 degrees by midnight. Then
So the dude that was screaming and yelling at the coffee shop lady, the one day when I was standing there with my arm attached to the door so he wouldn't do that, he got his head smacked around, I heard.
We've already had 9 people die this year in collisions as well, where they were not wearing their seatbelts and it could have saved their life. OPP Sergeant Kerry Schmidt says last year more than 9,200 seatbelt-related charges were laid. He says police will be
So you were breathing on people, and you killed several thousand people. Yes, you did. You killed thousands of people.
Driving impaired.
So what? You should have handled all that in the between 1989 and 2019. You had 30 years to deal with that, and you did it. You wanted to drag it out forever, and now emergency times came, and you didn't change with the emergency times, and you think you're important. You're not. You're disease spreading. And putting on a polyester, non-woven, non-medical fashion mask that you paid 79 cents for, and billed the government $3 or whatever, that don't cut it. And as you can see, the more you spit in my face, you end up boosting my immune system. You don't listen. It all mutates and kills your people, but it's not going to kill me. And you're not listening. I'm a very, very sick man, that's true.
That's right. Save time and pay $0
But you don't listen to what that
delivery
means,
fees when
do
you
you?
order PC Express groceries online. Terms and conditions apply.
Come on,
Sign
give us
up
proper
for monthly
news.
or annual pass and
Give
start
us
saving
proper
today.
news.
Try it for free at pcexpress.ca/pass.
Toronto's news. Now,
Tell us about the pharmacy jack-ins, brethren.
everywhere. +4 and overcast right now downtown Toronto. Good evening to you. I'm Mitch Burr. Thanks for tuning in. Well, imagine what this storm would have been like below zero. A good 50 millimeters soaking in parts of the GTA today.
You wouldn't have any flooding.
Eastern Ontario and Quebec.
I spent the whole day in a holding cell. I don't know what the weather was like.
Has been done on the tracks. Service along the Toronto-Montreal corridor for Via Rail either delayed or canceled tonight. We've heard one account from passengers on a train from Ottawa to Toronto that left Ottawa at 2:30. Well, they're still in Eastern Ontario. They had to transfer trains after a tree fell on the track, so a very long trip for them. And again, head to Via Rail's website if you were expecting to take a train out of the city. That's
Tell us about the
probably not
pharmacy
happening tonight.
robberies.
Thanks to the weather, more than 100,000 people still without power in parts of Eastern Ontario and into Quebec. Your next look at the forecast coming up at 9:21, although a little sneak peek. No rain expected after tonight for at least the next week.
It looks better than...
For the home opener at Rogers Centre.
No, I know this one in particular would look better with a better camera, not worse. Yeah, see, we get sports.
And now from Sportsnet 590 The Fan, it's Mike Leach.
Mitch, I hate to break this to you, but unless it's pretty warm, that roof is going to be closed. So the weather outside isn't going to matter for the Blue Jays. Home opener coming up next week. But we start with the Raptors.
Big shots, nigga, wreck your block. Playing off where the soldiers is from. 357s and Mac 11s, keep stepping, cock your weapon and stop yelling if you rep 187. I got niggas in the front ready and ready to split you down the middle just like a blood, so walk but not with me. The Lord will not forgive me for shaking up your kidney, cause you faking and dizzy. My niggas nifty and shifty, pissy, really, iggy, shiggy. We don't give a wiggy, what really, merely trying to kill the city like crack in the 80s. I'm ready to burn the 80s, my thoughts infected with rabies. Not even my papa can fade me, you niggas is crazy. Fuck up, fight and learn what these challenges do. You can be as cuckoo as you want, unbalanced too. Thanks to the garden, I'm coming to rally you.
Let's see, Eclipse has a so-so with 50-50. Give a fuck with it.
I'm figment of the Ramirez alias, run you up the district. If you rep the T-Dot, know you'll send me high. Big shots, nigga, rep your block.
I got nothing for you. Check out Okapi Radio and CRI and fuck the rest of you.